Hey, Colin Bushong here with CMB Construction. I'm here with Jeff Solonin with Creative Kitchens. And he's just going to give us a tour and kind of a once over of what we can do with cabinets and the options. So, Jeff, what is the process like working with Creative Kitchens here? Like, if I'm a new customer, how would we go about this?
Well, first off, you'd want to make an appointment with one of our designers, like myself, um, so that you can schedule that time together to go through the prints
Sure.
and get some ideas together, kind of brainstorm, sketch out some plans, ideas, and whatnot. Then we can start putting things down on paper. We've got a 2020 software that we use to.
What's the 2020 software?
It's a design software that each cabinet line has, and they give us all the information. So we put the cabinet boxes down in a floor plan, and it automatically does 3D renderings and does an
Oh,
automated pricing for us.
so these are when we get the layouts. We'll get full layout. You'll be able to see the kitchen from multiple perspectives. That's what you're talking about?
Correct.
Cool. So do you guys do design in-house for the cabinetry?
We have one of our gals does full time 2020. She works remote and she does most of the design work, takes our thoughts and ideas into a design.
Okay.
And then we sit down with the clients with the 3D renderings
Okay.
and the floor plans and go through everything.
Sounds good. So when a customer comes to us and I send them in here, like how do we start? Do we start with budget? Do we start with layout? Like where do you like to start?
So typically, we like to try to find out maybe what price range home they're trying to build, and then we can further try to find a cabinet line that's going to work within a
Yeah.
budget for that home. We typically do all the budgets for most builders before
Right.
the homeowner even gets
And I
the bid.
typically request of you guys to help me build a
Sure.
preliminary budget.
Yeah,
So by
so
the time we've sent them in here, they have a starting point, a good
correct.
basis to begin with.
Correct, and that initial bid may or may not be the exact cabinet line
Hmm.
that the customer wants, but it at least gets you a lot closer to a budgetary
Right.
number.
Yeah.
Um,
So what brands do you guys carry here?
so we have very low entry level lines. We have a Green Forest line, Mantra line that are kind of the rock bottom. They don't have a lot of design capability, um, but they get the job done. Then we get into the semi-custom or the mid-range cabinet lines. We start out with Legacy, Wellborn Forest, Pioneer, Shiloh, and then Decora. Those are all mid-range cabinet lines. Typically a 3 to 5 year warranty on most of those products.
Okay.
Semi-custom meaning they'll do just about anything, and they have a lot of options available. Where the low end lines, we don't have too many options. And then from above the Decora in the mid range, we go to full custom. Is our Crystal line. It typically is a lifetime warranty as long as you own the home. Um, Anything you can draw on paper, they'll build.
So I think a lot of people are kind of wondering what is we all hear these terms semi-custom, custom pretty regularly. Like how would you define, those different types of construction?
So starting down at the Legacy, the Wellborn Forest Pioneer, you can start adding, say, furniture board box construction um, as the box itself with a solid face frame. You can do veneer doors, you can do solid doors. You get into the Shiloh Decora, which is the higher end of the mid range. It's going to be an all plywood box construction. Typically, you see 3/8 to ½ inch as the side construction. It's all plywood, solid doors. Each one has a step up. So you start here, Legacy, you go to Wellborn Forest, Pioneer, Shiloh, Decora,
Sure.
about 10% jumps approximately.
Okay, that's good.
What happens in each of those steps, also, you get a variety of different finishes, different wood species. typically at the bottom end, you'll see oak, hickory, maple, cherry are your four number ones. You get into the mid-range, you start to introduce alder. You get into the higher end, you'll start seeing things like rift sun, quarter sun, white oak.
Oh, Rift Song would be sweet.
So some of the other options.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So for kitchen cabinet top options, what kind of stuff can we get from you?
So in-house, we do laminate. We also do Corian. A lot of the market today is doing either wood butcher block tops, granite, or quartz. We work with other distributors in the area that do those types of tops.
Sure.
Again, we do laminate and Corian in-house, and so we kind of can turn those tops around usually in about 2 to 3 weeks.
Wow, that's fast.
As far as cost, typically laminate is your least expensive top for a kitchen top, and then we'll also sell you an Americast cultured marble top, vanity top, and they're about the same price. Typically from there, you're going to go about 1.5 times to look at any type of butcher block. You're going to be at about 2 times to do any Corian solid surface type of countertop.
Okay.
To get into like a 3 centimeter granite or quartz top, you're going to be looking at 3 to 4 times the price of laminate to do those type of tops. So it kind of gives people an idea as far as, okay, you know, how much is this going to cost?
Sure. Yeah, I know that the solid surface ones can be quite a bit more expensive, but they really make a big impact in the room.
Correct.
Yeah. What does the design process look like? How long does it take, and what does it cost?
So typically for us to put a bid together, there is no initial cost in doing that. And a lot of times that bidding process is done with the builder. But a lot of times homeowners will come in, they want to get an idea as far as, well, how much did we put in there for budget? And they'll either get that from you or from us.
Which
that
we're
process
transparent with all of our customers, so they know what their budget is to begin with.
Okay, that process typically takes 3 to 4 weeks to try to put an adequate bid together. If homeowners come in and they want the drawings, we do typically charge a 5% retainer to release the floor plans. 3D renderings are going to be part of the bid that you're going to get. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. I love how your process works. We go through it all the time with you guys, and it's been very smooth, very easy. You guys help us set an initial budget. Our selections manager will help our customers connect with you at an appropriate timing in the process. We'll get them in here. They can start working through design, and then once we have that design and the materials chosen, we can decide on when it's appropriate time to order and get it roughed in the house and moving forward.
And part of the process for each designer is that once we start with them, we finish with them. So we do the ordering, we check the acknowledgments, we do all the field measuring to make sure proper fit and space.
Yeah.
We work with the clients to make sure, whether it's 1 phase, 3 phases, to make sure that everything is down on the floor plan, the information's correct.
One question just popped in my head, and I know the answer because we do it all the time, but I think it's good to address. Do you ever utilize higher lines in one room and lower lines in other rooms just to help with the budget?
Yeah, so a lot of times people want the better grade of cabinets, and they want to spend more in the kitchen, master suite. Sometimes we'll do fireplace cabinetry or even front foyers. And a lot of times you want those cabinets to be of the same color or, caliber or quality of cabinets.
Yeah.
And so then what we'll do is we'll take them down to, say, a lower level for a laundry room, second, third bathrooms, laundry room cabinets, etc.
Exactly. Just a way to kind of value engineer the project. And
again, it's all about the overall budget.
Exactly.
And so we're trying to fit everything within that. So as we mentioned before, most of our most popular cabinets are the mid-range semi-custom lines. And I'll give you kind of an example of a low end in a mid-range. This is a wood dovetail drawer, typical 5/8 wood dovetail drawer. They do offer a full extension glide with a soft close mechanism. Typically all your doors are going to be soft close as well.
I see you can get some customizable shelves in here that you
Correct.
can get rollouts in and stuff like that, which that's a nice feature. A lot of people like that.
So having the Legacy be at our bottom entry level of the mid-range, you can see they keep costs down because they have a limited number of door styles, colors, and stains, paint options available. They're a larger volume manufacturer, but a limited supplier of components.
How is the box made in this one?
So Legacy, surprisingly, is an all plywood box construction.
Really?
Yeah.
At a lower price point?
At a lower price point.
Interesting.
It's due to their volume that they keep the price point down.
Okay.
Another way to do that is to do a frameless box, like the Urban Effects.
Mm-hmm.
As we've mentioned with the Legacy, this was a framed cabinet. So there's an 1.5 inch face frame around all the doors and drawer heads. So your hinges are mounted to a solid wood face frame. In the frameless, there is no face frame.
And that's what they would refer to as like a European styling,
Yes.
or a Euro style.
Yep, and this is going to give you more of a modern type look in most cases. There's not much tolerance. The doors are very large, almost as large as the size of the box itself, where with a frame full overlay door, we have a 1/4 inch reveal around the doors, which allows a little bit more room for expansion and contraction with the doors and the drawer heads.
Sure.
That do, they open and close based on humidity levels. Something else to be thinking about are your seams. Where are the joints on the doors, the stiles and the rails?
Yeah, that one's mitered there.
Typically, yeah, mitered joints will open up more than a mortise and tenon joint.
Yeah.
A mortise and tenon joint is more like this. It's a little tighter.
Mm-hmm.
Door. The frameless lines, there are a variety of drawer glides that are available from steel, white.
Well, this is
steel.
interesting. How this is kind of like a steel drawer rollout. That's I'm starting to see more of those on some of these slab front styles.
Correct.
What's the benefit and negatives of that type of drawer?
It's just the look. Essentially, this is a little bit more industrial type look, and then others would be happy just with the wood dovetail, drawer box.
So we're seeing a lot of these tab pulls right here on cabinets. So do you see that mostly with the more modern European styling?
Correct. Yep. And you have to be careful with the thickness of these to make sure that they aren't too tall, and then you end up with, with rubbing here.
We've had quite a few scenarios with these where what we've actually done is during the knob install process, we have to mortise it down just a little bit, just like you would with a door hinge or something, so it becomes flush with that, and that kind of rectifies that issue.
Sure. Well, then a step up from those two entry-level mid-range cabinet lines, we have the Wellborn Forest. Wellborn Forest starts out with a 5/8 wood dovetail drawer. They offer a 7/8 extension drawer glide, which is still soft close. Their hinges do soft close on the doors as well. For an upgrade, you can get into a full extension glide, which is typically what you're going to see from this point going forward with the Pioneer, the Shiloh, and the Decora. So the drawer box comes all the way out to the front edge of the face frame, so you have full access to the drawer box, and again, it does soft close. Drawer faces typically come slab, but you can upgrade to what they call a 5-piece drawer head.
So the slab is really just a piece of wood, whereas the 5-piece, it's pieces of wood. This one would be more what you would refer to as a 5-piece, because
Correct.
You've got your center panel and then all of your 4 styles right there.
Yeah, and with the slab drawer head, you're kind of relying on the hardware, to make it look really nice.
Right.
Where with the 5-piece drawer heads, the hardware can be simpler because you're kind of relying on the drawer head to present itself.
So talk to me about Wellborn Forest. We utilize these a fair bit. These are kind of a mid-level beginning point, as I understand it. What options do we have for the wood species in the doors?
Yeah, so these are all the different drawer samples that we have.
Wow.
And as you can see, there's a variety of colors,
So you've
wood
got
species. We
maple
go from,
paint, maple stain, cherry stain, hickory, oak stain, oak paint.
Yep. And
What are
then
all those?
these are some of the heirloom finishes, which
Oh,
are going to be discontinued here shortly.
okay.
So we primarily want to stick with the oak, hickory, maple, and the cherry.
Got
In
it.
the Wellborn, we can paint maple, and we are seeing a lot of painted oak now,
Okay.
partially because people want to see the grain, and oak was kind of went away for quite a while because
Sure.
people got tired of it. And this is just a way that the cabinet manufacturers are bringing back oak.
And then, so these are all different door style options?
That's correct. And not
Wow.
every wood species is available on every door style. And so what I would recommend is you grab the catalog and go through that, and it'll state in there which doors you can
Sure.
get, which woods can you get,
Sure.
paint, stains, etc. But there is a number of very, very nice selections. Some of our most popular is a shaker style door.
Yep.
This one being the 2 3/4, which is right in the middle. We have a 2 1/4, a 2 3/4, and a 3 1/4 wide style. The wide style is right behind you there. Probably one of our most popular. We are starting to
Really?
see
I haven't seen that one yet.
popularity in this door now. It's the Auburn Plains, but we have 3 or 4 cabinet lines now that are
With
doing
the real thin styles.
with the 1-inch rail.
That is kind of a contemporary kind of feel.
It
which
is.
Definitely a
Yeah, it kind of goes
popular
both
look.
ways.
Yeah.
And so what's nice about Wellborn Forest is that you can still get that modern contemporary
Yeah.
look.
We've used that exact door
This is
numerous
a
times.
MDF slab veneer, but you can get it on a framed cabinet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys did a house for us out on the Betsy River, which was exactly that maple style and everything. So question, something as you were talking, I thought of. I'm sure customers come in and at times they might feel a little bit overwhelmed with all the choices, and that's totally understandable. So how do you like to work with them when they're just starting? Do you like them to have some images, or like how do you get that ball rolling to kind of figure out their style?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. One is, yeah, if they can bring some pictures in of a style that they like. The other thing that helps an initial meeting is having a list of all your appliances, knowing
Yeah.
whether you're going to do just a standard oven or whether you're going to incorporate a cooktop with a pop-up downdraft, whether you're going to do a single oven, wall ovens, double ovens,
Right.
microwave combos. There's just, and then knowing what size refrigerators, dishwasher,
Mm-hmm.
all the appliances that go in the kitchen are good to know.
So what we like to do is we send our customers appliance shopping as we're rolling on the project. We send them appliance shopping. They'll choose the appliances and then they'll finalize their design with you. Typically, they will have a beginning on a plan, but we never want to finalize it until we really have those appliances dialed in, just because that can force a few changes here and there.
Sure. So this is kind of one unique. Most people are getting kind of tired of Susans, but the Super Susan has been kind of redesigned. It's a
That's very
wood dovetail drawer. Comes with a 32-inch diameter wood Susan, and then there is options with pullouts.
I
as
really
well.
like that. I've never seen one of these, so that makes that center of that a lot more accessible. But yet you can still turn that.
Correct, and they
That's
rotate
cool.
independently, which is really nice.
That's cool. I like that. I have not seen that before. What other kind of additions can you add?
Yeah, so some people want the other types of accessories. Occasionally you get into a rare corner where you can't put a Super Susan in, but you still want it accessible. This here we ended up with just a tray divider cabinet next to a blind corner, but we were able to put these Susans that they're like an elliptical Susan that flips out. This is a pots and pans rack, which
Cool.
is kind of unique. What's nice about this here is you can put the lids on the side and put
Yeah.
your pans.
That's way
In
more
the main.
efficient for storing stuff. So I'm assuming the waste bin type of stuff that's a given. We can get that on almost
Single
any
waste
and all.
basket, double
Yeah.
waste baskets, glass doors are another nice feature. Pull-outs like this pantry here. This is a pull-out pantry.
Oh, yeah.
Works really well next to a wall, especially if you're trying to bump the refrigerator away from the wall so you're not fighting with the doors.
Yeah.
This is a nice
You
option.
could do spice racks like that too.
Correct. Pull-out pantries, a lot of people want to put rollouts in their cabinets. So this is a great feature to be able to access stuff in the back so things don't get lost.
So you guys, on one of our jobs, you had a piece of hardware that was for a KitchenAid mixer. We would open up a cabinet door and it would lift the mixer up. It would lock it into place. You can use that mixer in that location and then you can release it and put it right back down. It was the most effortless thing. It was super cool.
So my recommendation on that is to bring the base mixer up to counter level and then slide it over to a counter.
Okay.
Actually, the mechanism isn't the strongest for
That's good to
mixing
know.
doughs, and things that are
Yeah.
of a stronger texture.
It was pretty great in how it took that heavy apparatus and just helped you
Yeah.
get it out of the cabinet nice and easy. And
Yeah,
it was
for
a slick
sure.
setup.
Another unique thing that I can show you here. Let's see. Here's a waste basket.
Okay.
This is just a single waste basket. We can go to a double if needed. It just depends on the space that we have to work with. Accessories, drawers seem to be extremely popular in most cases. Again, the rollouts. We have inserts that are available, whether we get them through the cabinet manufacturer or we can order them through Rev-A-Shelf. They're available. This particular door or drawer, we did a scoop drawer here to allow the proper clearance for this cooktop. In this particular case, we needed a little bit more clearance, and so we were able to modify the drawer for that.
Which line is this that we're looking at?
This is a comparable line to the Wellborn Forest.
Okay.
We're not selling this product anymore, and we have to update this display.
Got it.
So,
Okay.
here's another base.
Oh, you should check this out.
This is a base spice pantry that's available. It swings out on both sides with additional storage in behind. Most people are wanting to do more of a comfort height vanity today.
We've been seeing a lot more.
Yeah, which is the height of kitchen cabinets.
And that is what, 34 and a half?
34 and a half plus the thickness of the counter.
Ends up right about 36.
36,
Yeah.
correct.
So what is the most typical top material you're seeing for bath vanities nowadays?
The strongest is probably the granite and quartz industry. I mean, they've pretty much taken over probably 75% of the jobs. What's nice about bathroom tops in particular is a lot of times you can find a remnant, which is a leftover piece from somebody else's job, and then you just pay for that small piece rather than having to buy a whole slab, especially for bathrooms, laundry rooms, that type of thing. So I highly recommend looking for remnants.
We found that to be a good way to kind of value engineer the cost of the project a little bit.
Yep.
Just try to keep it down a bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's ooh.
Some people like this two-tiered
so that's
cutlery divider
two
for utensils or silverware.
That's cool. Can I see that? So basically, you could put two levels of silverware. So I suppose if
correct.
you're a family that has the actual silver for special occasions, that could go below or above, or maybe you just have that much stuff that you want to, have two layers. That's slick. I can see that being very useful.
The toe kick drawer isn't available in all of our lines, but it is available in some lines, and some people like the idea of utilizing that extra space.
It's like a little hidden nook down
Hidden
there.
drawer inside the toe kick.
So we have, in a few homes, we've done central vac systems that we have a little kick plate right underneath where you can kind of take and sweep into that. So, I mean, there's an infinite amount of options that you could do in your kitchen design.
So this is a laundry room that we tried to be a little more diverse in with having as many accessories as possible. The raised washer and dryer with the drawers down below, having some room for your laundry baskets.
That's really nice.
Towel racks, incorporating some of the glass doors in here just to kind of make it feel a little more open and
This
brighter.
definitely looks a little kind of bordering on that urban and modern styling. So is this this is a quartz countertop? This
That's
is gorgeous
correct.
with
Yeah,
the
that's
graining.
one of the manufacturers, Cambria.
Mm-hmm. So I notice it seems like when you get these really defined graining in quartz, it seems that it's mostly the higher end quartz that have the really nice defined grain. Is that true?
Yeah, and they're typically going to be a higher premium to do that
Okay.
as well.
Okay. I really like that. I like how that it's got very defined veining. It looks very realistic with that.
We've got a variety of hardware. This is usually something customers start to pick out towards the tail end of the project
Mhm.
because they're starting to get a feel for appliance colors
Yeah.
and fixture colors.
Yeah.
So we try to match those if possible. We also have in this walk-in pantry, which is kind of a unique corner option. We've got additional hardware. We also store all our extra solid surface Corian boards in there. So if, say, a customer is interested in looking at high max, we can come over here and we can look at all the colors that are available, and these are in the solid surface.
So is this is a quartz like product?
It's like Corian.
Okay.
It's 1/2-inch thick material. It's
And
solid
Corian
core.
is kind of a you know high resolution plasticky type material, but there's a lot of different brands out there. But it's pretty strong for a plastic as well.
So people generally go to Corian for its repairability. With laminate, if you get a scratch, a stain, a burn, it's permanent and it's hard to fix. Where with Corian, if you get one of those a scratch, stain, or a burn, we can fix it.
Sure.
We can come out, fill in any areas that have any divots, and then we can also sand out any scratches.
Yeah.
And make the tops look brand new.
Yeah.
In just a few hours.
We've had those, and I myself have repaired a few minor scratches, never anything large, but it is pretty amazing how it's you can heal it more or less.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So a few things here that will change as you start to incline in the cabinet lines. This is the Pioneer cabinet line, which has a 3/4. So instead of the 5/8 dovetail, we go to a 3/4 thick wood dovetail drawer. It is a full extension, soft close, as the doors are. Things that you'll start to see in the semi-custom. You'll start introducing knotty woods like this door here, which is available typically in an oak, hickory, maple. You start incorporate. This is hickory.
Okay.
You start incorporating these knots, which gives it sort of a rustic look. In the display behind you, the top portion here is all knotty rustic woods, and the lowers are just standard grade maple.
That's subtle, but I like that. That really introduces some depth into what you're doing because it doesn't need to be all rustic. It can have a variation.
And we have some clients that want to incorporate a little bit of rustic, whether it be in the flooring or whether it be in the cabinets.
Yeah.
One or the other, not usually both.
Yeah. Sort of a reflection back to the family cottage, but not necessarily as they were. It's more modernized.
So with Pioneer, they do the furniture board box construction, which can save you about 15%, or they do a plywood box construction, your choice. You also get either a veneer door or a solid door, your choice.
Okay.
So you can also choose your routed edge details. At this point, Pioneer will let you do, say, like a G edge, or an F edge, or an E edge. The edges can be specified, whereas if in the other lines, you only get what you get.
Yeah. Where do they make Pioneer at? I see signs all over Michigan.
Yeah, so Pioneer is a made in Michigan product,
Oh,
which
really?
is down in the Davison area near Flint.
Okay. Yeah, I bet that's an impressive shop to see.
It is. Yeah, I've seen it once.
Cool. Now, can they make full custom in this line, or is this still a semi-custom line?
Yeah, so Pioneer's still a semi-custom, but they manufacture their own doors, where a lot of suppliers will buy doors from a company, say like Conestoga,
Yeah.
and they'll just then bring them into their facility and incorporate them into their box construction and then go
Sure.
ahead and put it through the paint stain procedure. Pioneer makes their own doors, which if you can draw it, they can pretty much do it.
That's awesome.
There's a 25% modification charge anytime that you take a cabinet and do outside of the standard.
So if you do it once or twice, it's probably not that big a deal. If you do it everywhere, then that probably starts adding
It
up.
adds
But
up
if you
quick.
just need a little area customized, which is probably the more normal scenario, it's quite attainable to most people.
Yeah, we've had some times where you have to have a certain size face frame and door, and it's almost forced. You can go right to Pioneer and say, okay, yeah, I need it this size, these dimensions, and
Yeah,
then it comes in. So.
yeah. Well, cool. So where do we go from here? Like, what's a line up from here?
Yeah, so from the Shiloh, then we will typically go to the, or from the Pioneer, sorry, we'll typically go to the Shiloh, which is the next level up. Shiloh starts to incorporate some things that we haven't seen so far. Partial inset doors, where it's a 3/8 lip door, where half the door is outside the frame, the other half of the door is inside the frame. Typically comes with a knife hinge.
Now talk to us about the knife hinge. That's not familiar to everybody. What's the difference between a knife hinge and a regular cup hinge?
Yeah, so this one's just a spring-loaded clip, and this is just designed for the 3/8 lip door.
Okay. So this is more typical on what you'd see on older site-built cabinets. You'd see a lot of these knife-type hinges. So this has been around a long while then.
Yeah.
And a cup hinge, does that one have a cup hinge? Or is
Yeah,
that
so
something
the
different?
other style that we're seeing in Shiloh is the inset.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be just a different type concealed hinge.
Yeah.
Again, because of how your mounting
Right.
is needed.
And this is what they would call a cupped hinge or a cup hinge,
That's
correct?
correct.
Yeah.
Yep. And then they do offer the full overlay, which we've seen in
Mhm.
the other lines, which is just fully concealed. And it is all-way adjustable. So you can adjust this in the X, Y, and Z axis, which is really nice, especially when doors start to
Right.
move.
Well, and we go through, so after installing all of our cabinets, the next step is going through and getting all of the cabinet doors perfectly aligned. So when our customers take over the house, we've gone through and we ensure that all edges are flush here. We do our very best to ensure that all lines are lined up, and that it's because of those hinges that we can make those types of movements on that. I see you've got some textured glass up above in these here. That's pretty unique and cool. What kind of glass is that, and are there other options?
Yeah, so typically in a stacked cabinet look like what you see here, the top doors aren't real usable.
Yeah.
And so we'll have some clients that want to bring electrical in there and have those just be lit up for the ambience. We do have a variety of glass options. We typically work with a local glass place, and you can see here that there's a variety of different styles of glass.
So these are all different glass options. So clear, that's probably the glass we're all familiar with. And there's a bronze one, so that's almost just a tinted glass.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
CD
yeah.
is like little air bubbles.
I like that. I've seen that numerous times.
Very popular.
Yeah.
This one they call Aquatex, which is, to me, almost reminds me of like a shower glass for some reason. The low acid is like just a low steam, very light.
I think the low acid is supposed to
This
be a
one.
lot more clear and not have the blue hue.
Yeah, like this one here.
Yeah.
There's even this pattern 62, which
yeah.
is just little speckles. Then chinchilla, almost to me looks like fingerprints.
Can you feel that?
Yeah, there's a
little
little bit of texture. We typically put the texture on the back of the door
That makes sense.
just for the ease of cleaning. There's a reeded glass style door here. This one's called Master Care.
And you can
A little
get
bit more modern
any of
look.
these glass options on any
of these,
cabinet line.
That's correct.
Yeah.
We don't put the glass doesn't come from the cabinet manufacturer. We typically take the doors off afterwards and then have
Right.
our local glass people silicone the glass into the face frame.
And as part of your design process, we're kind of going to define where those would go and have some options and, your team will be very helpful in kind of, getting some ideas out so that, we can productively be choosing from those options that you guys have.
For sure. This is another Shiloh display over here.
So the inset style has been pretty popular lately.
Yeah, it is fairly popular. The one thing you got to kind of keep in mind with frameless cabinetry is that in the summer months, this door is going to want to grow a little bit. It's going to expand.
Yeah.
So occasionally these doors can get a little sticky. We do a flush inset, or we can do a beaded inset. There's two options here available depending on the look that you're after. And then again, any door style is available in the inset, the partial inset, or the full overlay doors.
So show me what's going on here.
So this is kind of a unique feature. Again, we're climbing up the ladder in the cabinet world.
I think
and
that's
these
what we're
are
interested in seeing.
these are spice pullouts
That is a great
incorporated
spot for
into.
that.
So the key thing here is just making sure that we have the proper clearances. Every range has a different spec as far as where is the combustible zone.
And that's
So we
another
wanna make
reason
sure
those
that we-
appliance lists are really critical during the design, so that way we
Correct.
just know that we're designing something that can work with the items that were chosen. Well, that's really cool. I've not seen that situation before, with the pullouts right next to it. That's very cool.
And so another unique thing that we see when we start climbing the ladder is different styles of mullion doors
Right.
in the glass itself.
Yeah.
Different shapes, different designs, etc. Occasionally we do have clients that want to do a wood hood versus having a hood being just a standard appliance color. It does come with a liner and a typical blower. We typically have to increase our height on this just because of the combustible. Some of the newer hood lines have a stainless bottom that you can apply to the bottom of that to bring that distance down so it doesn't feel so far away.
Sure.
You don't want to get outside of 36 to 42 inches here.
Right, that's
where
where
it's
you
not
get your
doing any
suction.
good.
Yeah. So typically when we have a hood like this, we'll install a hood vent that has a much larger CFM. So that way, because it's higher up, we've allowed for more airflow in that case. So typically, when we do this, we're doing it for a statement, but the clients that tend to do that, cooking's usually an important aspect of how they're going to use that kitchen. So we really want to make this a space that they can, cook and enjoy, and it really functions well, because it's important to be able to, maintain the
Yeah, and that was
fumes.
part of the reason why we dropped this one down again for a shorter client.
Yeah,
This is just a much more workable height.
I just noticed the feel here. So is this like a leathered finish?
Yeah, this is a textured leather finish on a granite.
I love that feel. That's really cool.
So granite does require a little bit of maintenance. There is a sealer that's required to put on granite because granite is an open pore product. So you're going to want to close the pores by using the sealer, and they typically last about 3 to 5 years, and then you have to put apply a new sealer.
When it's installed, do the installers put that on for the first coat?
Correct, yeah. It'll always be installed the first time.
Perfect.
This is our Decora line, which is our highest tier in the mid-range. We just did a variety of different colors to show people what it can look like, having different colors next to each other. This is kind of a unique corner option as well.
That's a useful way to use that.
These are the
cabinet.
drawer units. Although you do lose all the space in the corners.
A lot easier access without having to bend. So, as kind of an aging in place design, this might be, a good avenue because it's a lot less bending as opposed to getting down and digging in there.
Correct.
Oh,
Now this is a lift
like
up
that.
appliance garage door. Typical appliance garage, we've seen those timbre units that slide up and down. We've also seen door units. We've also got pocket doors that are available, like this one here. Just another way of making the doors disappear.
Oh yeah, we've used hardware like that on TV cabinets in the past. A lot of options.
Yeah. So Decora does a lot of different unique paints and stain combinations. I mean, the drawers just get bigger and there's just more options with colors and everything.
I like how this has this kind of long bevel right there that gives it a little bit of a modern flair to a somewhat classic detail. That's a nice cabinet door style.
And they're kind of have their own unique doors that way. Decora has kind of made their own way with their own styles. We've been a Decora distributor for probably 30 years.
Okay.
Like I say, it is a higher end line. They do take a little bit more time in building their cabinets as well, but their finishes are superior for a mid-range.
So talk to me about this pop of color. I'm seeing a lot of people do that in their design where maybe they'll have one aspect of the kitchen where they incorporate a little bit more bold color.
Yeah, so I have some clients that say they have a favorite color and they've got a hutch buffet area or they've got an accent wall of cabinets, whatever, and they want to just make that different. A lot of times we'll do the island a different color as well as that accent piece in the kitchen. You want one good focal point, whether it's going to be the island, the hood, but that color kind of helps make
gives
that
it some
pop.
personality, so you can kind of customize it based on the individual there.
And I would say every client is a little different in how much color. You don't want to go overboard, with too much distraction. Like to me, 3 colors is a little bit much in a kitchen, but doing 2 is usually very nice, very warm.
What are some of the the trends that you're kind of seeing? Like, what are you seeing a lot of people kind of gravitating towards right now? Right across the board.
We're seeing a lot of white still.
Okay.
I mean, in the last 10, 15 years, it's been white. A lot of white, a lot of shaker white. But we're starting to see some of those driftwood colors coming in, soft, earthy tones. We're also seeing a lot of people bringing in quarter sawn white oak in light driftwood colors. Seems to be becoming very popular. The old barnwood type look as accent pieces seem to be really nice. Walnut is becoming more popular.
I love the look of a nice walnut there. That's a gorgeous wood. So I'm seeing a lot of people incorporate the things you're talking about and have maybe a little aspect of a bold color if they're a person who likes that type of thing, because I think it's just kind of shaking it up a little bit, and I think a lot of people are just trying to introduce their own personality into a home and make it their own. And that is really the beauty of what you guys can help do is tailor this to the individual customer and what it is that they're wanting to do and who they are as a person. So like you can kind of make this gathering space that they work in daily, make it a reflection of who they are and where they want to be.
Yeah, most of our goals as designers is to try to cue in on color tones that work together. So you've got this quartz top here, which is the Metro quartz, and then you've got either your main perimeter or the island as your accent piece in the blue, but seeing how the blue and the driftwood tones kind of play off of each other, and the countertop has all those colors in it, makes it work.
Oh, I see. So this is kind of like your design scheme. This would be a bit of a picture of
Correct.
what that kitchen could look like with that mix. So you guys can kind of help set it up so people can really get a feel of what their kitchen would look like.
Absolutely.
Do you have, door styles and samples that they can look at and take to, their furniture or whatever, just things that they can kind of compare?
After the initial meeting and we start to go through the floor plans and make red lines, typically we're also looking at color choices at that point. And so they can borrow color chips. We can order color chips. They can borrow door samples. We sign those out with the girl at the front. And then we just try to get those back in a week or 2.
Yeah, great. I know that helps a lot of our customers a lot, just to be able to compare it to whatever item that they're kind of wondering if this item works with.
Typically it's the flooring place is your second goal, and so they'll take our samples, look at floor. A lot of times they're coming back here with the cabinet color and the flooring to look at countertops, and then from there you go to the paint store.
Okay, yeah, oh, that's great. Talk to us about crown molding options.
So typically, crown and light rail is in most of our designs, and we try to follow the design of the door. So once a customer has selected a door style, then we'll look at all the different crown and light rail options. The light rail is kind of nice because it does kind of help aid in hiding the lights on the underside.
Yeah.
The crown molding is the accent piece at the top. Sometimes it's a two-piece stack to a ceiling. Sometimes it's open up above, but it does add a nice detail.
Okay. Oh, that's great.
So this is where we introduce the full line, which is our crystal cabinetry. And again, they do all of the things that Shiloh does.
Is this quarter sawn oak? This is beautiful.
Yeah.
It reminds me of
Yeah.
antique furniture.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing a variety of different wood species, and
I love quarter sawn wood just because of the flecking that you get in there. This is the only cut of wood that you can get that flecking. We don't see as much quarter sawn any longer because it isn't as efficient of a cut, but it is the only way you can really get this amazing pattern right here. And they quite literally quarter a log, and that's why they call it quarter sawn, because the orientation that they cut it there.
yeah, we're seeing some of the quarter sawn and rift cut in the Shiloh and the Decora lines.
Oh, okay.
So the big difference with Crystal to other cabinet lines is they do a 3/4 box construction.
I would like
which
to
is
talk about the boxes.
a heavier
yes.
box or heavier thickness, and it's typical plywood. They have both the framed and the frameless available at the high end. Again, it is a lifetime warranty, full extension, glides, soft close, everything, doors and drawers. But with Crystal, it's unlimited design capability. They'll build cabinets in 1/4-inch increments if we
Wow.
want them to.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So instead of the use of fillers, which are necessary in certain areas, we can provide more space. Yeah, so we've got this Crystal. This one was done probably about 10 years ago. So again, here with the 3/4 wood dovetail drawer, this is our full custom Crystal line. They're going to take a little more time with the finishes. It's a longer production time. Typical production time for our low end legacy line is about 2 to 3 weeks. The Wellborn Forest is typically running about 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
Our Pioneer line is typically running about 2 to 3 months. The Shiloh and the Decora is still up there in the 3 to 4, sometimes 5 month waiting period. Crystal has typically been about 12 weeks for quite a while, sometimes a little bit longer, depending on how many cabinet runs they have that week or month.
Fair enough. They're making it for you, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So again, it's just a matter of just trying to organize that time schedule between the designer and the builder to make sure those cabinets are coming in.
And we're really good about that. So our selections manager, she helps our customers with timing on coming in and choosing. She's also going to ascertain, the materials that our customers are looking at. She's going to be working with you guys to kind of understand what the intended time frame is. Our site managers are helping us understand when we need the product, so we're able to kind of have a target order date, just by effective communication amongst everybody.
Sure. With Crystal, they're introducing different types of wood species, different grades, vertical, horizontal grade, offering woods like bamboo, kind of exotic, cypress type woods. They'll also do laminated doors, just a variety. It's just their capability is so much more.
Okay. And where does this line sit on the overall pricing spectrum?
So Crystal is our full custom cabinet manufacturer. It is our only custom line.
Okay.
But again, they're full custom, lifetime warranty.
Okay.
As long as you own them.
So one of the more customizable higher end products that you guys can get.
Correct.
Yeah.
Typically, Crystal's going to run, say, 20-30% higher than our highest semi-custom mid-range.
Okay.
So when we saw those 10% jumps in all of our mid-range, there's still going to be an additional 20 to 30% above that. Sometimes you can see 50, 60% jump.
So these
just
are
in the
probably
mid.
going in more of your higher end custom homes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Multi-million-dollar homes plus for the crystal.
Okay.
Another neat thing that we do here locally is we can get involved with some leaded glass if you want to do that. We do have a local guy that will
Very classic kind of look.
solder all the lead together. And again, now here's the frameless side of crystal. Again, more of a European contemporary style. Typically comes with the 3/4 wood dovetail drawer again, full extension glass.
Now, do we have a couple of different species working together?
Yeah. And again, it was just done to show a different.
Sure. Show some different materials and options on things that you could do. I like how this kind of has sort of a mid-century modern kind of vibe with these poles and that kind of look, because this is a lot like what a site-built cabinet would look like in the 60s. Just kind of slab front, I guess. That's how they would build a lot of them. So what kind of maintenance should our customers expect when living in a home with cabinetry?
Yeah, so there's going to be some maintenance just with the hinges, as we talked about earlier. You know, making adjustments there because doors do tend to move a little bit. The other thing that's really important with cabinetry is making sure that you grab a hold of the door with the handle or the knob. In this case, we always highly recommend that you put on like a furniture polish. Guardsman is a good one. Spray that on the outside. It adds like a protective coating. That way, if there's anything floating in the air, grease, debris, etc., it's protected.
Does that help it clean off a little bit easier?
Yeah, it'll aid in wiping with a microfiber cloth. You can clean things a little easier, and then just use the furniture polish like you would, for your living room furniture.
Is there a cleaner you might recommend to actually, like, if you really need a deep clean, like, how would you recommend doing that?
Yeah, so they do make Murphy's oil soap, which is a water base, and water is like one of the worst things you can put on cabinets. So when you do that process, you want to make sure that you do a thorough cleaning. Maybe do it once a year, but make sure that you dry your cabinets during the process. Don't leave that water just sitting there.
Right, wood and water are not friends.
No, not at all. As far as countertops in the maintenance, we highly recommend just water and soap. It's not a very harsh chemical. There are certain countertops where you might need a soft scrub, which has a bleach additive, but you have to be careful with different materials.
And I'm sure every manufacturer has a cleaning guide that gives some good, more specific recommendations on that product and what you can do and can't do. But mild cleansers are probably always a safe avenue.
Yeah, anything that's a harsh chemical can eat the finish on a cabinet, and they can start to affect the finish on a countertop.
Yeah. So. Great. Jeff, I really appreciate you taking the time today to walk us through, showing us the options. You've really helped educate us a lot. Truly appreciate it.
Well, good. And if your customers have any questions, have them get on our website. They can look up the individual salesperson's website, their name. They can leave a message there, or they can get our phone contact information. Typically, all of us have our own cell phone that we carry on the road. We all typically work one floor day a week, so each salesperson has a day that they're on the floor from 8 to 5, so they can be reached without an appointment those days, and then we like to schedule appointments the other 4 days.
Okay. Yeah, we always recommend to our customers to schedule appointments just because we want to ensure that you guys can devote your time to them, so we need to schedule it so that we aren't stepping on another customer's time.
Right. You're going to get the best attention if you make an appointment.
For sure. Well, great. Thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. We learned a whole lot.